Morning, gang. Wanted to start by addressing the trolls who go into the forum and want to talk about my speech pattern, the fact I say okay a lot, to berate family members on their comments, and any other little nitpicky thing they can do to be an ass. Well, those people are no longer around, and that's how it's going to always be. If that's what you're here to do, I assure you, you won't be here to do it a second time. This is a place where I'm going to discuss what's going on in the prepping world, things I know, and a place for all of us to learn from each other. If people want to be petty and nasty, they can go start their own channel as far as I'm concerned. Okay? I have no problem giving them the boot. And I do this because I have no tolerance for attacks on myself or attacks on anyone else in the forums. I just wanted to put that out there. Again. Okay. So, after I did the video yesterday on Biden's new taxes, quite a few of you asked what we could do about it. Okay, my short answer is resist. Okay, the long answer is a little more complicated, but here it goes. Okay, this is the one thing we must do at all costs. Now, gun confiscation's always been the holy grail of totalitarian regimes. Without disarmament, fully centralized control of a population is not possible. Okay. And though it's true that not every evil regime seeks to disarm every single citizen, at least not right away, okay, they always disarm the people that they specifically intend to hurt the most. Okay. The Nazis disarmed the people they planned to destroy. Okay. It's not hard to figure out why. They didn't want their targets to be able to fight back. Okay. The funny part is when you say that to a liberal, the answer you get is something along the lines of, yeah, the Nazis disarmed the Jews and the others, but would having guns have made any difference in saving their lives? Really? Okay, then why'd they do it? Right. I don't know about you, but have you ever noticed the stats on good guys with guns? According to the Crime Prevention Center, in the years 2018 and 2019, the FBI reported 55 crimes that met the agency's definition of a mass shooting. Now, however, the CRPC notes that there were 7 other ones that existed, and in 6 of those 7, legally armed citizens ended the attack, hence the reason they don't make the news or the report. Okay. Maybe owning guns might have saved the lives of millions of people that the Nazis had deemed enemies of the state. Maybe it would have acted as a deterrent to the Holocaust. Maybe the Nazis would have been afraid to expand tyranny into Europe if they had to worry about their own population fighting back and disrupting their momentum. Maybe World War II would have never happened. Okay? What we do know for certain is that disarmament is always one of the first steps by totalitarians in cementing their control of a population. And it's most common among the biggest political killers in history. And it's not the Nazis. It's the communists. Okay? It's estimated that the communists were responsible for somewhere between 65 and 100 million murders over the course of the 20th century. What was the first thing the communists did every time? Seize all the weapons, of course. Okay. Stalin, in particular, declared any theft of state property a crime punishable by death. He then, at the same time, declared that all the production, including food production, was state property. So if you eat food that was not granted to you by the state, you are stealing and could therefore be shot. See how that works? Okay. Is this starting to sound familiar? Go watch Christian's video on Ice Age Farmer from the last couple of days about Biden's plan for 2030 at the Earth Summit. I talked a little bit about this yesterday, and this is kind of where this all started. Okay. Listen to the part where he talks about people in the U.S. are going to be allowed 4 pounds of red meat per year. I don't know, that's 1 hamburger a month, okay? Or the fact that there's a bill in Oregon to prohibit raising livestock for food. You know, Oregon, the state that's trying to rival California to be the most idiotic in the country, okay? Or California, who in order to sell pork, not raise pork, sell pork, that you have to sign an affidavit saying that that pig had, I think it was 24 square feet of room to roam around in. Okay, so basically the pig has to have his own room. Okay. Again, totalitarianism, gun control, food. Okay. Imagine getting the death penalty because you had a 4th of July barbecue. You think I'm kidding? Put the pieces together. These are bills that are in states right now. Okay. In 1918, the Bolsheviks mandated that the Russian citizens turn in their firearms under penalty of prosecution. Gun restrictions and penalties were increased over the years until World War II. Now, the Soviets were loath to arm their own population in response to the Nazi invasion. Now imagine that. Your country is being invaded, and the government doesn't want you, Joe Average Citizen, to be able to protect themselves. Think about that. Mexican border? Okay. Communist governments only allow people to have firearms in their hands when they're fighting against the ideological and foreign foes of the regime. Okay. Otherwise, you're allowed to be cannon fodder for the elites. You're not allowed the means to defend yourself, though, against those same elites. Now, you see where this narrative fits into that of the liberals and why they hate the Second Amendment so much? Liberals want a socialist society. Socialism is the precursor to communism. Communism is totalitarianism. Why do you think the liberals want to make D.C. a state? And sidebar on this one real quick. Yeah, the House passed it. It'll never get through the Senate. They're not getting 60 votes, so don't worry about it. Okay. Why do they want to make Puerto Rico a state? Okay. They want total control, okay, i.e. totalitarianism. How are they going to prevent you, me, and anyone else in resisting them? Well, disarm us, of course. Remember that little line in the oath of enlistment or the oath of office that, the president, the senators, congressmen take, all enemies, foreign and domestic? They seem to forget that little domestic part all the time. Okay. Now, conservatives, and by default preppers, okay, we have an in-depth understanding of this dynamic. While leftists are more concerned with rewriting history to their benefit, we're more concerned with not repeating it, okay? We know where gun control leads. So did the founding fathers of the country, okay? Which is why they codified gun ownership into the Constitution as an inalienable right under the Second Amendment. Okay. Now, as I've said before, we, conservatives, preppers, have studied the history of tyrants, and we don't want to repeat those same actions, okay? There's no tyranny that's ever existed that did not try to disarm the population, or disarm at least a portion of the population that the government intended to enslave or destroy. Who are the majority of gun owners, and then which side wants to get rid of guns. Okay. Leftists froth at the mouth trying to reimagine history in a way that circumvents or ignores the tyranny issue when it comes to gun control. They're just wasting their time. Okay. They're never going to convince conservatives and moderates that gun confiscation was not a key step in the establishment of various tyrannies in modern history. All the mental gymnastics and manipulation, all the energy they spend trying to rationalize away genocide and somehow is somehow inevitable, is all for nothing. Okay, I hate to tell you guys this if you're a liberal. We're far smarter than you are. Okay, we're well versed in the legacy of gun control, and this makes your tactics useless. Okay, now. Kamala Harris is one of the many Democrats openly seeking mandatory government buybacks of firearms and the dismantling of government rights. Then you got Bozo Beto O'Rourke, who, really jumped the shark when it came to the true intentions of gun grabbers when he said, hell yes, when when asked if the Democrats were going to take away our AR-15s. Okay. Now, Joe Biden is famous for his statements admonishing military-grade weapons in civilian hands. So we can't get those because AR-15s are not military grade. I hate to tell you this, Joe. But telling people that a double-barreled shotgun is superior to an AR-15 for home defense. Now, sure, a shotgun is a great weapon to fight off a home invader. It ain't a great weapon to fight off a whole band of them. Okay. Biden's specific focus, though, lately has been on red flag gun laws, okay, which allow authorities to confiscate firearms from people not involved in criminal activity and just basically take them based on any suspicion of mental illness, which, of course, is completely subjective. All right. Conservatives have been accused of mental illness because we oppose COVID lockdowns, because we question the vaccine safety, because we question the legitimacy of global warming. Hell, they even openly say that voting for Trump is a mental illness. Okay, this is targeted incrementalism and selective enforcement of gun control. Much like that used by the Nazis. Red flag laws allow the government to attack political and ideological opponents at one at a time, and disarm them. Just like the Nazis selectively targeted their political opponents for disarmament. We know where it's all going, guys. We've seen it before, okay? Elitists and leftists just don't seem to get it, okay? Maybe it's the way their brain works. Maybe they just can't comprehend the idea that some people will not compromise certain freedoms no matter the cost. They think everyone has a limit. Everyone has a price. They think anyone can be bought, or that anyone can be leveraged into submission. Hey, I'll give you, free beer, free donuts to get the jab. Not going to happen. Really, a free donut? Yippee-doo. Okay. Some of us have no price, okay? We're not going to be compelled to comply to your socialist, communist, totalitarianist ideals, okay? Just not going to happen. We're the people that keep freedom alive, and totalitarians are terrified of us because of that, okay? Gun grabbing is just a natural extension of their personal, inner fears and inner doubts in themselves, okay? Whenever an oligarchy is seeking to disarm a population, it's a sure sign they're about to grasp for even more control. And they're afraid that the population might dethrone them. Exactly what's going on right now, okay? Why do you think we had all the fiasco we had back in November, okay? And really, they should be afraid because, after all, we don't have to put up with this, guys, all right? We don't have to put up with the war on meat. We don't have to put up with the war on fossil fuels. We don't have to put up with the war on common sense, okay? Like I started at the beginning, how do we fight back? Well, the first thing we do is we don't get disarmed, because it's the only thing that's standing between us and the gulags. Have a great Saturday. Pinball out.